A warm welcome to your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Tuesday, July 7th. Our top story: government is set to unveil a waste-to-energy facility. Word of this from Small Business and Commerce Minister Dwight Sutherland as he led off debate today in Parliament on two companion pieces of legislation: the Fair Trading Commission Amendment Bill 2020 and the Utilities Regulation Amendment Bill 2020. The facility is earmarked for Vaucluse, St. Thomas, the same location where the former Democratic Labour Party government had proposed for the controversial Cahill project. Minister Sutherland did not reveal the identity of the investors behind the project, but he said it would generate good returns for Barbadians.
So that investment of $320 million in a 25 megawatt waste-to-energy plant at Vaucluse will do several things for us. It will address our garbage situation, because we are burning organic waste, disposing of our organic waste, and through the Minister of Agriculture, he will make available all the fallow land, all the idle land, to be used for the production of biomass. And he has already identified that, because when we start this plant, we are looking at 20% local organic waste, and we're importing 80%. But that can't deter us, because all the cost benefit analysis, they're being done by Minister Cattle and her team, and all prospects look good.
Minister Sutherland said today's amendments were all part of government's efforts to lay the groundwork for a major expansion of the renewable energy sector.
The government recognizes the potential for renewable energy development to facilitate job creation and diversify participation within the energy sector. The government has therefore taken the position to inject further certainty into the market, and the Fair Trading Commission will use the feed-in tariff methodology to determine rates and procurement methodology for renewable energy systems between 1 megawatt and 5 megawatt. So we didn't just stop at the 1 megawatt, but we are looking at investors who want to invest in larger systems. So we have created a category from 1 megawatt to 5 megawatts, and the Fair Trading Commission is busy with the consultants coming up with a rate for the various technologies, like I articulated, for those technologies less than 1 megawatt.
In his contribution to the debate, Opposition Leader Bishop Joseph Atherley weighed in on the proposed waste-to-energy project, saying that the investment was needed. But he urged the government not to leave out small business people, charging that Minister Sutherland was putting the needs of big businesses above those of small enterprises.
Now, fair competition is quite fine, and we need to have that. We need to have fair competition in the market. But I often wonder, why is it that when we come to the matter of fair competition and adjustments must be made, the adjustments must always be made by those who are on the smaller side of the business rather than those who are on the bigger interest side of business. So when adjustments are to be made, it is easy to identify the smaller players, the smaller business people, the smaller enterprises, to make those adjustments. But the big players can have their way. And when the forces that obtain in the market do not seem to serve the interests of the bigger players, they complain to the powers that be and seek for adjustments to be made.
Agriculture Minister Weir today took on critics and detractors, whom he says are trying to undermine the Mayor Motley government. His comments come days after former St. Philip South MP Anthony Wood severed ties with the ruling Barbados Labour Party at the weekend. Wood cited his concern with the party's failure to address glaring issues, including that of corruption. Wood's resignation also comes more than a month after he announced that he was withdrawing his support for Weir in a paid advertisement. But speaking in Parliament during the Fair Trading Commission Amendment Bill, Minister Weir urged Barbadians to dismiss what he sees as a clear political agenda.
There are those people who will have their set agendas. And based on that set agenda, they take advantage of the most naive. They simply do. And you would imagine that we came to government and every single minister in this administration had to declare their assets.
That's right.
Had to declare them. So that if you had to declare your assets, a process had begun. And that for anybody to even assume any modicum of corruption amongst this team is a person that has set an agenda over and beyond human imagination. And the only thing I can attribute it to is pregnancy and envy.
Prime Minister Mia Mottley said a big thank you to Barbadian superstar Rihanna. Rihanna has donated 4,000 tablets to the Ministry of Education's tech drive through her Clara Lionel Foundation, along with the Jack Dorsey Start Small Foundation. Government has been trying to secure some 10,000 tablets to ensure the island's less fortunate children can fully access online education.
We all know that education is the most important gift that we can give any child. And to the extent that we can ensure that there is no digital divide among all of our students, that is our duty. Of course, our government will continue to make sure that we get there. But to the extent that we can receive assistance from those who care enough, who love us enough to be able to help us lift the burden on this long journey, then we say thank you. Because we can always do it better when we do it together. We are always stronger when we work together. And Robin, as usual, thank you. Your Bajanness, your commitment to this country, your commitment to this region in the context of building climate resilience has not gone unnoticed. The world has watched you be that extraordinary Bajan, that extraordinary global citizen that has not forgotten that their roots are right here in Barbados.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news now, Jamaica's National Security Minister, Dr. Horace Chang, is expressing concern about growing clashes between police and some members of the public. His comments come as another video making the rounds show residents defying police during an arrest. More in this report from Television Jamaica.
This video shows a man and a police officer in a confrontation. The police officer fired several rounds in the air, but that fails to give him control of the converging crowd or the man he was trying to arrest. In fact, one resident can be heard saying they hear shots every day and will not move. The JCF's communication arm says they have made checks about the video, but they have had no formal report about the incident. They say they are unable to say when and where it was. For some observers, it is a sign of the increasing disregard for law enforcement. To others, it is a reminder to security forces of the need to ensure their operations respect human rights of citizens. Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang did not comment specifically on that incident, but says he noted the clashes with security forces and residents.
And the security forces are of particular concern because it is an attack on the state and shows a great disrespect for law and order in its entirety. And it is of the government is taking close note and will be taking steps to try and reduce that aspect of it.
But Dr. Chang feels that the security forces have improved. He feels some of the recent work by the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, is proof of the strides made by the security forces in particular the police.
On the international scene, the World Health Organization on Tuesday acknowledged evidence emerging of the airborne spread of the novel coronavirus. This after a group of scientists urged the global body to update its guidance on how the respiratory disease passes between people. We get the details in this report.
The World Health Organization is now saying that coronavirus may be spread through the air more easily than previously believed, lingering longer and moving for further distances between people in an aerosol form, after hundreds of scientists pled with the agency to consider the evidence in an open letter over the weekend. If it's true, it could change how governments have been fighting the virus, including the 1 and 2 meter separation rule many countries adopted for social distancing. This was the WHO's technical lead for controlling the pandemic, Benedetta Elagranzi, in a news conference on Tuesday.
We acknowledge that there is emerging evidence in this field, as in all other fields, regarding the COVID-19 virus and pandemic. And therefore, we believe that we have to be open to this evidence and understand its implications regarding the modes of transmission and also regarding the precautions that need to be taken.
The WHO was quick to say that the evidence is not final and they're expected to put out their most recent findings in coming days. Dr. Anthony Fauci of the White House's pandemic response had this to say.
There isn't a lot of definitive evidence about what the impact of the aerosolization is on COVID expression. However, we have some good examples back with SARS, which is a similar virus, where there were clear-cut examples of spread by aerosol. So although we don't think it's a major issue of spread, it's something that we can't completely rule out.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.